How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella, and we have another music collection update to do. My apologies if you hear the dogs in the background. The downstairs roommates are doing some spring cleaning and setting up some exercise equipment, I think. But yeah, anywho, it's been a while. My apologies. I keep going a month or so between these updates, but it's mostly because I don't really have anything to show. It's been taking longer and longer to build up some music to show you guys. It's been taking longer and longer to build up some horror movies to show you guys. I did that one Fire Cult EP review. Hopefully you checked it out and you like the music they have. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, so today, unfortunately, if you're here for the black metal and slams, it's not going to be this one. And I know I've been getting some comments recently about, well, if you don't show off black metal or slam anymore, why don't you call it the alternative metal rebellion or the hard rock rebellion or this or that. I'm just going to put a kibosh on that. I'm not rebranding. I've been the black metal rebellion for over 4 or 5 years now, probably longer. It's just what the name of the channel is. It's not going to change. There really is no point to changing it, because if you go and look at my playlists, there's over 60 different videos of black metal related content and collection updates and reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, black metal is still one of my top favorite genres of all time, right up there next to thrash and slam, of course. I don't listen to a lot of black metal or slam right now. I do listen to mostly thrash and punk. It's been that way for about a year and a half. You should know by watching the channel. That's probably about how long I've been listening to it. So yeah, before I get on with this video, you can skip ahead a couple of minutes and I should start then. But another reason why it's been harder for me to do videos on this channel is because I'm expecting our third child very, very soon. Me and Crystal are in the midst of doing a lot of cleaning and preparation and organizing and going out and buying things that are necessities for the baby. So yeah, that's another reason why I haven't been on here quite as often, because the last 3 or 4 months have been like laser focused on baby prep. So yeah, the room around here has been getting crazy cleaned up and tidied. The background will probably always be the same. It's our horror movies and like horror collectibles and stuff. But yeah, there's a crib over on this side of me now. There's a bunch of boxes and shit we've gone through. We've cleared out a whole bunch of old like TV series and seasons and box sets we don't want anymore. We're selling some of those off to make room for things. So yeah, don't think that I'm forgetting about the channel. I would just have a lot to keep me occupied in the moment. Anywho, with that out of the way and all the channel updates out of the way, let's actually get to this collection. And again, my apologies if you're looking for some black metal or slam. I have a bunch of playlists with a bunch of black metal and slam in if you want to go look those up, but this is mostly just going to be alternative metal and some thrash and whatnot, except for the first one or two. The first one being Television with their first album called Marquee Moon. This is from 1977. They are a new wave and kind of art punk project, mostly just hard rock with a little bit of experimental things here and there, a little bit of kind of punky riffs, but not too fast, not all that aggressive. I think I picked this up because when I saw the CBGB's documentary, they were pretty interesting on it, and I liked the actors, and I kind of liked the involvement in the scene that they had. And it had been probably 2 years since I actually saw the documentary, but then this popped up on Amazon. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that band. I'm gonna buy that album because I remember it being pretty good. Well, it's not that great. It's mostly pretty slow. And the Marquee Moon song itself is it's okay. It's got that that thing on it. if you like that riff for whatever reason, then that's a good reason to maybe pick this up. But honestly, the rest of the album isn't all that entertaining or fast or bombastic or anything like that, like you'd expect punk to be, even the early 77 punk. This one is more or less just kind of like experimental, artsy, hard rock punk, a new wave here and there as well. But yeah, these guys started in 1973. They didn't put this album out until 1977. They came out of New York City in the US. Besides this, they also have a second album called Adventure and a third album that's self-titled Television. But yeah, if you're like really into old hard rock, this might interest you a little bit. But if you're into punk or like fast stuff, this is not for you. It's not even really for me. But my nostalgia and my memories of the CBGB documentary tricked me into thinking this was really good. So it's in my collection now, and I'm not giving it up because I'm not a fan of it. I'm keeping it because it's still kind of like a classic, kind of poignant centerpiece for the beginning of punk. So it has to be in my collection. But yeah, Television with Marquee Moon, 1977 first album. All right, moving on to a couple of albums from a band that I showed off in my 2022 Christmas haul, so about 4 videos or so back if you want to check out the other stuff by them. But the first one I have to show off here is The Flame in All of Us. If you don't know who 1,000 Foot Crutch are, they are kind of a local band to me. I'm in Oshawa, Ontario, and these guys came from Peterborough, Ontario. They started in 1995. They started out as a band called Oddball though, and they are kind of a hard rock, alternative metal, sometimes new metal band, and they're pretty good. I mean, they're not thrash, they're not super heavy, they're not anything like that. But if you like some of the Finger 11 or Godsmack or Our Lady Peace or like slower Korn songs, this might interest you a teeny bit. But other than that, it's probably not up your alley. I don't know. The wife has really gotten me back into some alternative and new metal bands over the last year and a half, 2 years. Kind of reminds me of high school nostalgia for these bands. So her listening to 1,000 Foot Crutch definitely got me to consider picking some up for our collection. This is mostly for her, but I do, you know, enjoy it from time to time when we're out and about in the van and we can throw it in our CD player. This is 2007's The Flame in Us All, their 5th album. It's not the best album in their collection, but it's also not the worst. I'd say it's fairly mid. There's a couple of good songs in here. The Flame in All of Us, I think, the very first track. New Drug, possibly. Favorite Disease, possibly. Broken Wings, kind of funny because he does this weird like harmonic thing with his voice where he's singing a certain mid-tone, then all of a sudden he'll go like really high. So it amuses me, but it's in the collection now. We pretty much have all their albums now except for the first 2 and the album when they are called Oddball, called Shutterbug. So yeah, that's their 5th album from 2007. Moving on to what I feel is their heaviest album, and that is Welcome to the Masquerade. This is album number 6 from 2009. Think of maybe some of the heavier stuff you've heard from Finger 11. Think of maybe some of the mid stuff you might have heard from Edema or Korn. And that's about how heavy this album gets at certain points. I don't think I showed you the middle. I just opened the damn thing up like an idiot. There we go. There's the middle. Their usual 1,000 Foot Crutch symbol there, and kind of continued artwork behind the tray. So this is probably their best album. So if you're looking for something really bombastic and something to bob your head to, this one might be your gateway into this type of alternative metal. Like the track Welcome to the Masquerade's pretty good. Fire It Up's pretty good. Smackdown I think was okay. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's quite a few good songs on here if you like that style. All right, and the last album by 1,000 Foot Crutch we got recently was the Oxygen Inhale, because I showed you Exhale last time, so we had to get this one. And yeah, it's another one of those, not the best album, not the worst, it's somewhere mid. It's got a couple of their more popular songs on it. And again, I think these guys might hit a little better for me because I know they're local. They're just like a couple of towns over, so that's kind of neat. Untraveled Road, Born This Way, Set Me on Fire, Like a Machine, the first track's really good. So yeah, this also might be another one to try and look at picking up. I'd say this should be the third album you pick up by them. Yeah, I feel like Welcome to the Masquerade, and The End Is Where We Begin. This definitely has most of the most bombastic bangers. And then maybe Oxygen, pretty decent alternative metal albums for sure. But yeah, Oxygen Inhale was released in 2014 and is their 8th EP, and they are currently on an indefinite hiatus as of 2017. So I don't know when we're going to be able to see a new album by Thousand Foot Krutch. Hopefully they get back together, because they were putting out some pretty good stuff by the end of 2016. Okay, moving on to some more alternative metal, this time from Pennsylvania, USA, and that is Breaking Benjamin. This is their first album. This is Saturate from 2002. And it's actually a pretty good album. I wasn't sure if I was going to like any like super duper early Breaking Benjamin. I know the second album was probably the best one, which is We Are Not Alone. But honestly, Saturate's really good. The only thing that I could say I definitely don't like about this is the way they pronounce polyamorous. They call it polyamorous. My polyamorous friend, like, it's not amorous, it's polyamorous, for God's sakes. So that annoys me. Sort of like how Artillery has a song called Live by the Scythe, but they call it like Scythe or something. They like have a hard K sound, and why is it so hard to pronounce certain words like that? And when it's in a song, it's going to be repeated over and over again, so it's going to trigger my OCD for sure. Anyways, I'm not sure if I showed the inside, so we're showing it again. There we go. Breaking Benjamin was another one of those bands that was mostly for the wife. It was mostly like her taste in music. I remember hearing Breaking Benjamin here and there back in high school and a little bit post high school, but I didn't really get into them or buy any of their albums. But then we started listening to them and I'm like, all right, yeah, this is pretty good. And I started picking up the wife some physical copies of these. So this was one that we needed to get. We already had a bunch of their other albums though. This one was one that was a little harder to track down. I think I got it from either Amazon or eBay. They started in 1999. Anyways, Saturate, first album. If you're hesitating on picking it up because you weren't sure if it was worth it or not, I'd say it is. The next one is Phobia from 2006, which is their third album. There's the inside there. This one is pretty much just as good as We Are Not Alone. It's got The Diary of Jane in it. Breathe. Topless is a really good song, and not just a funny song title. So glad to get that. Also, it was a little tricky to track this one down. Again, probably either Amazon or eBay. I found this one. Happy to have this in our collection. And this isn't for the update, but this is the ones we already had. So I already showed off this one, their second album, We Are Not Alone. And then we have number 4, and you can see there, they have it on the spine, Dear Agony. A lot of people got into Breaking Benjamin via this album. A lot of people were talking about Dear Agony when I was in high school, I think. Nothing really behind the disc tray. Yeah, this one was from 2009. Nope, so definitely not when I was in high school. This was post high school for me. But a lot of people had this one. I'm pretty sure my bass player Andrew from when we were in the band called Kier, pretty sure he had this and played this a lot in his truck. It's not bad. I Will Not Bow, Dear Agony itself, I can't quite remember, but I'm pretty sure this one was pretty good. And then we get into the albums that weren't so great. This is where Breaking Benjamin started taking a turn for the worst. This is Dark Before Dawn. I honestly can't remember any great track off of this. This is when it started kind of becoming like 4 or 5 out of 10 if we're gonna give it a score. I mean, really cool artwork though. Like, it's exploding and suns and eclipses and shit. Like, I dig the artwork. It looks like it's gonna be a banger, but I don't know. I really don't feel like it is. If you like Dark Before Dawn, let me know, but I don't know, it's not one of my favorites. And then this is a pile of junk. This one is Ember. This one was really boring and bad, I think. I can't remember if there's one song on here that I liked. Nothing pops out in my mind from reading the track list. Just kind of repetitive artwork over and over again. There. And then, yeah, just a zoomed in version of this, I think, over here. But in my opinion, you could probably skip Dark Before Dawn and Ember. Not really the greatest stuff. I'm gonna have to listen to it again just to make sure. So I'm probably gonna have to take Ember and Dark Before Dawn into the van and blast it while we're going around, but I don't know. I feel like those were pretty bad from what I can remember. We have all of the Breaking Benjamin albums now. But before we move on, I wanted to mention that Breaking Benjamin did a track with these guys, Starset, and it was actually not too bad. Starset they're kind of a trippy, kind of hard rock band. They say it's thought-provoking cinematic rock for fans of 30 Seconds to Mars, Chevelle, and Deftones. Some of it is, some of it's alright. Like, they've got My Demons, Carnivore, and Halo out there for singles, and I'm pretty sure they have an album or two after this one, but yeah, the song I heard with Breaking Benjamin and Starset was okay. I don't know if I'm personally going to go seeking more Starset, but I feel like if Breaking Benjamin and Starset did like a collab album, it would be, you know, mostly alright. Alright, moving on to something that I think is pretty cool. I know it's not going to earn me any cult points. None of this stuff has, I know. But if you're into this kind of stuff, hopefully you'll enjoy this one. The next thing is a solo project by David Draiman of Disturbed, and this is called Device. And it's a self-titled album that came out in 2013, and it's their only album, unfortunately. I think it would have been cool to hear more from this project. It's an alternative industrial metal band that came out in 2012, I think between Disturbed's third and fourth album. Correct me if I'm wrong, I can't quite remember. Actually, we could probably check. Tell me this has a date. 2010? Holy shit. This didn't come out until after Asylum? God damn. Alright, never mind. It didn't come out until after their fifth album, Asylum. So that's pretty crazy. Because this is 2013 and Asylum came out in 2010. So never mind. They came out with quite a few albums before this one. I thought it was earlier for some reason. Anywho, this is pretty interesting. Again, industrial alternative metal with David Draiman at the helm doing vocals. I'm not sure who those people are. But that's the band right there. Izzy Hale from Hailstorm apparently is on this, on a track, so that's kind of neat. This is really cool if you're into kind of Fear Factory and Disturbed. It kind of slightly mixes the two of them. Not super duper heavy. Vilify is fairly heavy. Out of Line's pretty good. You Think You Know, Penance. Like the first half of this album is pretty good. And then it has a cover of Close My Eyes Forever. So that's probably where Lizzie Hale comes into play. So anywho, you definitely want to check this out if you're into Disturbed or Fear Factory. Really, really great one-off side project by David Draiman, released in 2013, and it's the only album they have. So yeah, I think I also got this off of Amazon for like $5.99 Canadian. So it's not hard to find, and it's pretty cheap. Go check it out. Probably worth it. All right, we're boiling down to the last two things on here. Hopefully you stuck around because you might like the last one if you're into a certain Big Four band that released a new album recently. Before we get there though, we're going to talk about the latest installment from Finger Eleven, since we're doing alternative metal still. This is their Five Crooked Lines album. It is from 2015 and it is their 6th LP if you don't count Letters to Chutney by the Rainbow Butt Monkeys, which is their ridiculous name before they became Finger Eleven. Finger Eleven officially started in 1990, and they're also local to me, so kind of hits home for me. They're out of Burlington, Ontario. This being their 6th album, they clearly have 5 other albums before it. This one is an oddball album. I want to say that You versus Them versus Me, or whatever that album was called, was kind of like their slower, chill album that really didn't have any super crazy bombastic riffs or songs, maybe one or two at the most. But it was mostly chill and laid back and kind of a zen kind of Finger Eleven album. This one, it gets kind of dark. It doesn't get heavy, but it gets dark. It's like, I don't know what the theme is with this. Like, there's a pentagram or pentacle on the front here cracking through the universe, and then you got some like Viking medieval shit here. You got possibly Thor's hammer at the bottom there, and some ruins, their logo on a shield, but a medieval knight. I'm not really sure where they're going with the theme of this one. Godspeed's okay, Criminal is okay, and then it's basically like good, and then as you get through the album, it starts getting more and more boring and more crap. I don't know what to say. The last 4 or 5 songs are just, it's mid. It's slightly under mid, and I could have done with the first 6 songs being an EP. Like, there's a lot of filler on this, and there is no super crazy bombastic fun having a good time type of riff salad going on that I usually like from earlier Finger Eleven. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to listen to this again because I threw it on repeat while we were out doing some running around in the van again, and I don't know, either I wasn't in the mood for a dark Finger Eleven, or it just wasn't great. So it's sad because this came out in 2015 and they haven't put out anything since, and I don't know if they are going to put out anything new. I'm gonna have to look into that again too. If you know what the future of Finger Eleven is, let me know. But this is a really sad album to end on if this is where they end on. Again, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, because the 7th song on this is 5 Crooked Lines, and then the Blackout song, I don't know, that might be all right too. So the last 4 songs though, you definitely don't need them. They're definitely filler. But yeah, they could have whittled this down to an EP for sure and just left the best shit in. I'm not impressed with 5 Crooked Lines. It is so sad because the last album, Life Turns Electric, was a fantastic return of form for Finger Eleven, especially after Them versus You versus Me, or whatever the fuck that one was called. If you're a diehard Finger Eleven fan, sure, pick this album up. If you fell off from the grayest of blue skies, you definitely don't need to pick this one up. But Collector Scum have all the other albums already, including the Rainbow Butt Monkeys album. Yep, right there, Rainbow Butt Monkeys. This is even better than this one. If you're gonna pick up something, go pick this up instead of 5 Crooked Lines, because yeah, Rainbow Butt Monkeys is way better than 5 Crooked Lines, unfortunately. So definitely don't need it in your collection unless you're an insane Finger Eleven fan. Who the fuck asked for a dark Finger Eleven album? Not me. Before we get to the last album, got a new shirt. Check it out. Offspring, smash. Found this fucking thing at Walmart. What? I found a shirt for Offspring's best album at Walmart. I mean, I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. $12? Sign me up. I love that album. Was blasting the shit out of that earlier today. Okay, moving on to the last album in this music collection update. And thank you for sticking around. If you have, give yourself a big old pat on the back for listening to this old metalhead ramble. But here we go. You know it. You're a corny as love it. It's so fucking bright. It is Metallica's 72 Seasons. They're a 11th studio album from 2023. So this year, came out in April-ish. So yeah, it's one of the big 4 of thrash. It's not really a thrash album. Even the fastest song on here being, I think, Lux Eterna. I love that song, but even that I don't think is really thrash. The guys from Banger Television said it best. It's basically Metallica doing Black Sabbath songs, and it's mostly not high tempo, not mid tempo, somewhere between mid and high tempo for the most part. There's a lot of mid and low tempo songs on here for sure, but it's mostly between mid to high, but never reaching like completely high, except maybe sort of Lux Eterna. I don't know. I fucking love that song, and it's the shortest song on here. Like, I think I agree with the dude that was kind of being a dick about the album, Blaine. I think his name is Blaine. Cool guy, but he was being a dick about this album. And he was saying that there's no reason why all these songs need to be over 6 or 7 minutes long. And Metallica does it best when they're doing short songs. I don't know if I agree with that 100%, but the shortest song on here is the best song on here. So I'm kind of at an impasse with that statement. So yeah, you should know these guys. There should be no reason why I need to tell you that they started in 1981 and they've got 10 other albums and 3 EPs and a fuck ton of live albums and shit. They came from the Bay Area, California, USA. This album, well, first of all, the artwork isn't as shite as everyone thinks. I actually do dig this cornea burning fucking album. The yellow background with the sun, you know, Eternal Light, Lux Eterna, makes sense. And then all the black burnt pieces of your youth, your childhood and your teenage years, the 72 seasons of life, where you make all your most decisions about what you're going to be doing for the most part. I get it. I like the theme of the album. And I actually kind of wish I had a bright ass fucking yellow shirt with this on it and the Metallica logo and all this junk on the floor. It'd be cool. I like yellow for some reason. I've been on like kind of yellow kick lately. Just more stuff to match my yellow docs. Yeah. Yellow docs. But the packaging, I'm not a fan of the packaging. I like the slipcovers. That's cool, you know. But the thing that isn't cool is this bullshit. This fucking open up every single which way. Try opening this up and putting the disc in while you're driving. Good fucking luck. I just threw it at the wife and I'm like, here, you fucking open this thing, because there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to eject the current disc and put the new one in with this flappy bullshit going on. They couldn't have just had a simple like booklet type or a jewel case. You got to be kidding me with this. It's not even like an upside down cross or anything. It's just a 4-way clusterfuck panel apocalypse. Nope. See, I can't even put it back properly. There's so many panels. And we got James Hetfield's old ass bulldog looking face staring at me like, damn bitch, you can't close the album cover. I'm sorry about that. I liked it. It was good. It wasn't the best Metallica album ever, but it also wasn't the worst in my opinion. My opinion isn't worth much because I liked Saint Anger. Out of Saint Anger, Death Magnetic, Hardwired, and 72 Seasons, I'm probably going to rank, I think Hardwired's first, then Death Magnetic, then this, and then Saint Anger. But Saint Anger definitely has some better tracks on it than this does. If Saint Anger didn't have that snare and had maybe a couple of solos, I don't really give a shit about solos, to be honest. I get it. You know how to play the guitar. Good for you. So yeah, solos, I don't really give a shit about. It's cool if you know how to play them, and it's cool to hear Kirk, you know, just wanking out a solo or two. Maybe Saint Anger would have been better with it. The reason why you listen to Saint Anger is for those fucking meaty, bombastic, caveman, just post-thrash groove beasts of riffs. That is the reason why you listen to Saint Anger. So anyways, there's not a lot of that going on in this. This is kind of like Hardwired to Self-Destruct light. Kind of like a mash. If you took Hardwired to Self-Destruct and mashed it with Saint Anger, poured some water on top of it, and then blended that would be what 72 Seasons is for me. It's still pretty good. I've listened to 72 Seasons more than probably anyone else has this year, because when we had to get our new vehicle, this was on repeat over and over and over again while we're sitting there waiting for our car dealer guy to draw up all the fucking paperwork to talk to all the banks to get us the loan and shit for it. Like, I must have listened to this album 26 times now, and it was all in 2 days. So yeah, I've got my money's worth. I don't need to listen to this too much anymore, but yeah, I'd say if you're a Metallica fan of the last 20 years or so, pick it up. It's pretty good. It's got a normal snare, and it's got some Kirkwankery. So there you go. You could probably rest easy picking it up. It's not going to be the most amazing thrash album out there. Is it even really a thrash album on its own in general? No, not really. Overkill definitely brought it when it came to the thrash album this year, minus those just nails on chalkboard, cringe as fuck vocals. Overkill definitely brought it instrumentally this year. The vocalist, it's one of those, either you like it or it's abominable. Unfortunately, I'm in the abominable train. I cannot stand those vocals. It's just terrible. But the instruments, the guitaring and the drumming, oh my god. Like, if they had any other vocalist, just bring a normal thrash vocalist to the table for that. It's just your normal harsh yelling, and that would be so much better. I would buy every single Overkill album if they had that kind of vocals. But unfortunately, they have the dude that they have, and his vocals are not getting any better. They're getting more gargly and weird and just high pitched, and he sounds like a little goblin. Someone squeezed Smeagol by the balls and handed him a microphone, and that's Overkill's vocals. Anywho, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this music collection update. This is probably going to be the last music collection update on this channel for a while, because I don't foresee me being able to pick up enough albums to necessitate an entire collection update, probably for 4 or 5 months, and then I'll be able to start collecting again music wise on a higher basis. But until then, if you want to see more of me, please check out the Sharp Hand Path channel, where I do martial arts related things, where it involves my own training, my own martial arts journey, and I'm also going through my martial arts and kung fu collection. I've done my Jackie Chan collection, I've done my Donnie Yen collection, which is the most recent one, and I've done a Bruce Lee collection, about 5 or 6 movies there. And the next big thing on that channel is going to be a unboxing, and if you're an anime fan, you're going to love the shit out of it, because holy fuck, I am super duper excited for this and to share it with all of you. So yeah, again, check out my Sharp Hand Path channel if you want to see more of me on a more regular basis, because the only thing after this is probably going to be another horror movies to watch or a Void update, and then it's going to be pretty scarce. I might have a black metal review to do. I think I have something by Ouija that I promised them to do, but I kind of been super duper busy with baby stuff. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching my rambling. Until next time, cheers. For glory, for the rebellion, Slammerella out.